GolfForever. He is the founder and CEO. You guys have seen this a lot. I know I have, and I'm super excited because I'm actually really interested in this product. I have not tested it yet, and I've not tried it, but it looks really cool, and I like the story behind it and the why. And so I'm really excited to talk to him about this because I don't know, I just am. So welcome to the show.
Paul, thank you very much, and glad to be here. And we'll have to change that. I want to get you trying this thing out as soon as possible.
So, are you a professional golfer?
Far from it.
Are you a hack like me?
Pretty much. What I do know, what I am very good at is understanding the biomechanics of the golf swing, what your body needs to do to produce it, the damage it can cause if you're not proactive, and how to improve it through improving your body.
So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in rural Tennessee, actually. Went to college at the University of Tennessee, then moved out west, lived in Portland, Oregon for a while, San Diego, and ended up here in Colorado going on 12, 13 years ago.
Did you go to Tennessee when Peyton Manning was there?
I did.
I knew it. I was like, okay, I know how old you are. And I'm like doing the math in my head. I'm like, I bet he was there when Peyton was there.
By the way, I bartended in college, and he frequented our bar. The whole football team did. And he was just a gentleman and just an outstanding guy. Always polite, friendly, humble, which wasn't always the case with the football team. I couldn't say enough good things about him. He was just great.
He's awesome. Yeah. I love him, dude.
Yeah, he's great.
When did he graduate? When did Tennessee win that? What was that, 95?
They won it with T. Martin, which was something like 95, 96.
Yeah, because I was still in I graduated in 96 high school, right? So I went to Purdue, and I was at Purdue when Drew Brees was at Purdue. And I met Drew, and Drew was the coolest guy in the world. He was the most chill, nice guy. I don't know if it's a quarterback thing either, or just certain people, but I feel like the quarterbacks have so much stress on their shoulders that they have to lead the team, that they're just held to a higher standard, right? Yeah. I don't know. I might be wrong, but it was just
I think you're
he
right.
never went out.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, think you have to have some humility to be a leader, and maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, I just remember he never went out to the bars ever. I mean, I was to the bars a lot, and I knew a lot of football players, and they were always at the bars. But I'd be like, "Where's Drew?" And they're like, "Oh, he's at his girlfriend at his apartment." I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay,
that makes sense."
But so you went to Tennessee, and what did you major in at Tennessee?
So I did a dual. I had a environmental science is what I started in, and I switched and ended up with biology and political science, and then went on to chiropractic school out in Oregon. My entire family is in the medical profession in one way or the other. Father and grandfather are both MDs, mom nurse, aunts, uncles, you name it. And we can get into later why I went a different way, but I'm glad I did.
Why?
Why? Well, I had some issues myself when I was young, and funny enough, this may be the first time anybody in your podcast has said this, but I had aspirations when I was a teenager of being a professional skateboarder. And
that's rad.
And I was pretty good at it, and I was getting better, and I had a lot of injuries, developed some significant back pain, and went through kind of the whole traditional route of Western medicine. And I'm not slamming Western medicine. It's amazing at doing a lot of things, but at that time it was not great at treating back pain. And I did the procedures, the MRI, the ultrasound, the CAT scan,
injections, the nerve ablation,
the depression, importantly, because that's a big part of why this program has been successful, because there's a big psychological component to it. Long story short, none of that was successful. And it wasn't until I saw a chiropractor, which he didn't give me permanent relief, but he did give me some short-term relief, which was the first time I'd ever had that. And it gave me an idea, or I guess it planted the seed of looking at the body in a different way, of like a machine, like you would look at a car or any other piece of mechanical equipment, and there's moving parts, and they all have to work well together in coordination and in balance. And chiropractic school made the most sense as a starting point for that approach to the relief of chronic pain, which is where I ended up and what I had a clinic that excelled in. And so that's how I got to where I am today. I never really practiced as a chiropractor. Most of my patients would have thought of me more as a coach, and we were in the gym, most of the time. But the vast majority of these aches and pains that golfers and really everybody experience are a function of your lifestyle, how you live, how you move, how you exercise, how you don't, etc. And so that is how I got into this profession, and that's how ultimately GolfForever came about, based on my clinic.
So did you go? So you went to chiropractor school in Oregon, but then did you really practice chiropractic or chiropractor? How do I say that? I think I said it right. Close. So did you practice that, or you just started like training and like you understood the biomechanics of like the way the body works?
So when I lobbied hard to get a job at a clinic that was here in Aspen, which is why I moved here originally. I had read about this clinic in National Geographic, Rob Report, etc., and it was really a pioneering clinic in this way of looking at the human body, which was more looking at all aspects of a person with chronic pain. Ended up getting the job, and if you define chiropractic as manipulating people, that sort of thing, no, I never really did that. I did a lot of basically a lot of time in the gym, a lot of time evaluating someone's lifestyle, how they spend their day, making tweaks to that, and importantly, assessing deficiencies in their body as far as strength, flexibility, and mobility, and rebuilding those areas so that their body was a healthy, functioning unit. Whereas when they would come in, you could think of it as bringing a car in. Somebody been driving on a flat tire for a year. It's going to move up and start to bend the axle. It's going to start to cause problems all throughout the car. It's the same way in the human body. If you've had, say, an injury in the past and specific muscle groups shut down, you're going to start to compensate in other areas. And before long, your body doesn't function the way it was intended to, and you start to put stress and strain on certain areas. And so with the right approach and the right program, the vast majority of that stuff can be fixed permanently. And what we saw in my clinic was that we had a lot of golfers, and you can imagine why. Golf is a repetitive asymmetrical movement, and if you
It's
don't,
very a natural movement too, right?
it's not a natural movement, no. And I'm going to blame my being a hack on that, because it is a really difficult movement. And if you don't balance that out, and if you're not proactive, it can hurt you. It can wear you down, especially your lumbar spine, which is your low back.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get older too, when you're younger, you could have an unnatural. I mean, you could be. I mean, look at Tiger, right? Like his main back issues. I mean, he's a phenomenal player, but I mean, it's just that just shows you it doesn't matter like how much of an athlete you really are. You're doing an unnatural movement over and over and over and over again. You're going to have injury, right? And then, especially like if you're, a normal player, mid to high handicapper, who does plays once a month, like that's the last thing you should be doing is swinging your body in that direction when you don't do that but once a month, I would
That's
assume,
right.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
genetics plays a little role in it. Genetics will predispose you to either being more susceptible to getting injured or not. But if you look at a bell curve, most of the people in the middle of that bell curve, if they don't do something proactively, they will get injured at some point. Some people can get away with it, most can't.
yeah, like I got in a car accident like 4 years ago, and then ever since then, like I couldn't even swing a golf club. Like it was like my upper lumbar, right? Like freaked the hell out. Like it was always like this, and it didn't matter. And it took me like years of like stretching and chiropractic and like heat and whatever to like make it just chill out essentially.
Mhm.
And but then I noticed too, like I had golf clubs that were too short for me. So I had to be even further down and then do that swing, which just aggravated the hell out of my back because it's like, so now it's like, you don't realize those things. Like, you don't think about it. You just think, oh, okay, I can do that. No problem. And then really you can't. I mean, you can just, you're paying for it for the next 3 days.
That's right. And, you just gave a perfect example of what I talked about a few minutes ago, which is you have, this is really an important point. So I hope Let me know if it doesn't make sense. An injury, some kind of traumatic injury like a car accident, you're going to injure joints, muscles, whatever it is. And your body's going to learn new ways to move to compensate for that while you're injured. But even
To
after,
protect it, right? Trying to
right,
protect it.
and after that tissue heals, unless you embark upon a kind of like a focused, proactive rehabilitation program to retrain the muscles, you can stay in that pattern for years, even though there's nothing physically wrong with the tissues that we're talking about. Say
It's
it's
all healed, everything's cool. It just
right,
doesn't know how to work, right?
exactly, and that can cause 10 out of 10 pain. I mean, a lot of people think, well, that doesn't sound so bad, nothing's hurt, but actually that can drop you to the ground. Muscle spasms are incredibly painful, and you get muscle spasms when muscles are overloaded because the system isn't balanced and working properly. I hope that makes sense.
I think it's so cool because like it's so true. Like my problem now is that like I can't get the full rotation over, right? Like my body like literally just like fights it. Like I can't go. I mean, I can go, but it's not. I can't go into full whatever you call it position, right? Like my back, my butt, my back are like. It's like, oh, we're not gonna go that far, and it's like, why? You know, I'll stretch it or whatever, and it helps a little bit, but not. I've lost that rotation. I feels like, you know, I feel like I'm very rigid, and I think
Yep.
I didn't have that problem before the car accident. So it's almost like it's funny because I didn't. I mean, there's repercussions of what happened even years later because you're.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I think because the body. My chiropractor told me like, essentially it's because your body's trying to protect something. It thinks it's still not right. You know, so your
Correct.
brain's telling you, no, we're not doing that, even though you could possibly do it. No problem. It just so what do you do in those situations? Like how does one fix those problems?
It's funny. It's almost like this was scripted. I mean, this is what a big part of Golf Forever is. You
Good transition, right? You like
This is a
that?
good transition. I swear to the listeners out there, we didn't plan this.
We did, so we wrote it down. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't. We
Um,
totally did not.
so in our assessment, we use a couple of what will seem to the user very simple exercises, but it actually tells us a ton about the stability of your shoulder, the range of motion of your shoulder, your upper back, your core strength and endurance, your hips, etc. And we pinpoint deficiencies in those areas. For your case, for example, you can't get all the way in your backswing. If you lack, whether it's flexibility in your pecs, you lack range of motion in your shoulders, or in your case, maybe your thoracic spine, the muscles around it are locked up. When you go into that backswing, you're going to put too much force through your lumbar spine, your low back, trying to get into that position. And your brain can go, that is way too much torque on your low back. Shut it down. That can be part of what's going on. And so we assess those things in the program, and then you're fed content every day when you log in to address those deficiencies and also get a good golf fitness workout at the same time. And it progresses over time. Once we've addressed those deficiencies, you you continue going. Then it gets more about golf performance once we've built like a solid foundation and corrected any problems you may have when you join.
So essentially, it's like figuring out what your problem is, right? Like what's happening, and then a method to fix that problem. And then once it starts to be better, then it's like a more of a daily routine of how to keep yourself fit in a way, right? Not like exercise fit, like I'm gonna get strong and buff, but like your body's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
That's correct. And you do get much stronger. So we have various levels of difficulty. So the other thing we assess during that self assessment is your strength, your ability to move with agility, like your coordination, your balance. So the program is constructed such that whether you use it back to back days or 2 days a week, we're focusing on something different every time you log in and click today's workout. One day, maybe rotational power. The next day, maybe golf specific balance. The next day, upper body strength. The next day, lower, etc. All within customized, content specifically for you.
So how did you come up with GolfForever? Like what made you go into golf? Like were you just like what made you go in this way?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, so I directed a clinic out here for over a decade, and we really did become known as the kind of the last resort for people with chronic pain. And 9 times out of 10, these were people that had issues like with your history. They aren't people that have some, debilitating spinal lesion that's, their spine is anatomically destroyed in any way. And so, as I said, we had a lot of golfers. And one thing I noticed in my clinic, and then I'll get to the program, is that golfers were super motivated. Yes, they wanted to get out of pain, but they also noticed, because the strategies overlap dramatically when you're trying to relieve pain and improve golf, there's a ton of overlap. So what they noticed was not only did their pain go away, but their game was really improving. They were hitting it further, more consistent. They could play more rounds without suffering the next day. Their endurance is better. And so the original idea, after doing my clinic for a long time, it was very expensive. Insurance didn't cover what we did because, as I mentioned, I didn't really practice chiropractic. It was basically a medically informed personal training, if you want to think about it that way. And it was expensive to come out here. Most of our patients were from outside of the state or the country. And so I just was trying to think of ways to scale this, to make it cheaper, and to get it out to the general public. So I actually created a non-golf back pain relief program first, which was called GolfForever. And funny enough, what we saw with that was the same with my clinic. We got inundated with golfers. They were highly engaged. They were always wanting more stuff. They wanted more and more. They loved it. And so that gave me the idea of just, I already by that point knew so much about golf, knew a lot of golfers, had worked on hundreds of golfers, and I thought, well, let's just see if this thing makes sense just for golf. And we still do the other programs, but this one has generated the most enthusiasm and excitement. And we have users that are on, their 500th workout day at this point, using it regularly. So in general, that was the idea. And originally this was very much like a golf related pain relief program, but it's since morphed into far more golf performance. And we're about 25% right now of our users are there for pain relief.
So when did you start GolfForever? Like,
So
when did it go live?
a very, very basic version of which I would laugh right now about, and I'm glad that you don't have it here to display, was launched in late 2018. We launched what I would consider the very basic version of what we have now, just over 2 years ago. And we launched the swing trainer, which was our first physical piece of equipment, in January of this year.
So the original version did not have a physical piece of equipment?
No, we didn't have a physical piece of equipment until this year originally, and still, this is still part of it. When you join the program, we ask you what exercise equipment you have access to, whether it's exercise bands, dumbbells, Swiss ball, etc. And that part of that customization is only providing you with content for which you have the equipment. So the swing trainer has really allowed us to take it quite a bit further in that. I don't know. Do you know what the swing trainer is?
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, I've seen like pictures of it. Like,
it's I have one right here. It's basically a bar with, it has both a weighted head for warm-ups, but importantly within the program, it has you tether a resistance cord to it, and it's a shaft now. And so this really lets us recreate. You can imagine a cord right here that's anchored to something, and you're moving with it. It really allows us to recreate the forces and movements that you get with a golf swing, because now you have the resistance at the end of a shaft. Whereas if you're holding a resistance band, you lose that, and that really impacts the feel, the torque, the forces it places on your body, etc. So it's generated so much enthusiasm, and it's really taken our company to a whole nother level this year. It's been really exciting.
So you had the website and the exercises, right, and stuff like that, but you had no physical equipment, right, initially?
Correct. We just had the application.
You had the application, and then once you incorporated the shaft and the equipment to be part of that, is that when like it just kind of took off like crazy? Because you guys blown up, dude, in the last couple of months. I know that for a fact.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it is. Scottie Scheffler had been using the swing trainer with his trainer, Dr. Troy Van Biesen, who is also one of our GolfForever instructors that you see on the app. And Scottie loved it. He trained with it starting in November of last year. And so that helped us get him on board as an ambassador, and it was a great fit because he'd actually been using the thing a lot and loved it.
Yeah,
And
it's not like, oh yeah, I'll use it, whatever. It's like he's already
right,
using it. And he's like, oh hell yeah, I'll promote you guys. Like this is
yeah.
awesome.
And so obviously having him come on board was huge, and just all that mixed together has been the right formula. And we're developing. We've got new stuff to come, and the idea of a physical product with streaming content is like resonates with people. It requires less explanation, whereas I think where we had the challenge before with just the application was explaining it. And once we got people in, our retention is excellent. It's getting them to understand it was the challenge. Now with the device, you're looking at content. It just makes sense to people on it. And golfers love to swing things, and this looks like something you want to swing. I think that
Yeah,
helps.
look at all like the swing aids, man. Those things blow up like crazy. Like
Yeah.
Super Speed and Orange Whip and like all those guys. Like, I mean, can imagine the units they sell.
Yeah.
Um, so Scottie started using it last November, just like as part of his training routine and getting ready for the next season. So probably apparently, and then how how do you even like approach that? Or they're like, hey, do you guys want to like? I don't even know how to ask a player. You know what I'm saying? Like, or is he already so excited about it? He's like, oh yeah, I need to talk to these guys. This is cool.
Well, Troy's been working with them since he was in high school. So, and Troy's been
Oh
with
wow,
yeah,
yeah.
Troy's been with us for just over 2 years now. So that was how we started the conversation. Scottie was just wonderful. Like what you see
Scottie's cool as hell.
when you see on media is really what you get with him. There's no ego. There's no diva kind of attitude. He's great. I mean, he's probably one of the more mature 20-somethings I've ever been around, and to the point of our earlier conversation, pretty humble. So it was great. His agent was great to work with. Um, his agent actually knew Justin Leonard, who was already part of our program. So it was
So
just
how
a
did
great.
Justin be a part of your program?
So Justin, up until last month, was a local here in Aspen. He's lived here. He just moved to Jupiter, Florida, but really well. It's a small community out here, really well known. He and I knew a lot of the same people. He knew a lot of my former patients, and when I started kicking around the idea of this, we were introduced and we hit it off immediately. And Justin, I don't know how much you know about him lately, but the last 10 years or so, he has been really hard into physical fitness, health. He really got into the mountain lifestyle out here, and so it was a no-brainer when he heard about the idea. He was excited to be a part of it, and I'm very thankful for him to taking a chance on me when it was just an idea. And he was a huge part of our successful launch of giving us, a face in the golf world, credibility, and the talent.
That's the hardest part, right? Like you could have the coolest product in the world that really does work, but like the marketing side is so hard, like
So
to get
hard,
it out there. Like that's the hardest thing. Like
so hard.
that's literally the hardest thing.
It's. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. When I started this thing, my biggest concern was, are we going to be able to build a digital product that works as well as what I was doing in the clinic, or as seeing like Scottie seeing, Troy Van Beesen? I thought that would be the toughest part. That was the easiest part. Marketing is definitely the hardest part.
So, like, how do you guys market then? Like, just digital? I'm assuming, like everybody else, word of mouth.
Yeah, digital was the main focus of our strategy up until this year, really. But now with the physical product, we're getting into retail stores. We're on Amazon. It's we're on golf.com. It's opened up.
Oh, so you guys are on Amazon now? Well, not just from the website.
Correct. It's opened up a lot of new distribution channels, and our biggest, the thing we're most excited about is going into retail stores this fall, and we have some of those in the works right now. We're also getting a lot of buy-in from clubs. We're installing warm-up stations with the swing trainer before people go out and play, and we've got the video, on the screen that they can follow along with Scottie Scheffler doing the same routines he did and that he did for the Masters, right there at their club. And so we started rolling that out about 2 months ago, and that's been a big success as well for brand awareness and sales.
I really can't think of I mean, I know there's brands out there that you can use to like warm up, right? There's products out there, warm up products. Most people don't warm up, right? I would say like they just barely make it to the golf course 5 minutes before tee time, and then they're like, "Why'd my back hurt?" You
Exactly.
know. So if I had a Golf Forever product, like how would I use it? Would I use it like I'd use it at home? But there's like images I've seen on your site where like people can use it at the course, right? Like I saw like it's on the cart. Was I think was it? I could have sworn I saw a picture like that. Like so, how do people incorporate that in their normal play?
It's a great question. So the vast majority of the use and the intended use case is at home to build your fitness using the application with your customized workouts, which I believe is as good as and not if not better than working with a lot of fitness professionals. The secondary use I touched on earlier, which is you can use this. We have a ton of pre-round warm-ups in the application using the swing trainer and without it. And as I mentioned, this has two different weighted balls. This green ball gives you a D3 swing weight. So you can use this for warming up. And then we have a heavier weighted ball for speed training. But the general idea across the whole thing is to improve your body for golf. So I'd say, the majority is the at-home part. But then right when you're walking out for that first tee shot, we give you 5-minute routines where you're really hitting the target areas: upper back mobility, core engagement, glute engagement, hip flexibility, so that when you get out there, it really makes a tremendous difference. I mean, I speak for myself and countless others. The difference between just going out and hitting, range balls versus taking 5-10 minutes to get your body moving and activating the right muscle groups and getting your brain ready, it makes a tremendous impact on your game.
So initially, when you came up with like you had your clinic, right? And so, but then when you launched the initial before the hard good, like was that being shared with trainers like nationally? I mean, essentially like people you've already kind of knew that like, hey, check out this new program I've come up with, or like how did you bridge the gap from like I have this idea and I want to do this to like actually you build it, but then how do you get it out there for the initial phase, right? To like legitimize the product, I guess a better way of saying it.
Yeah, well, it's a great question. I mean, a big part of it was, raising the money to get it launched and to get the marketing budget going. And our first push was we did, kind of the normal standard PR things. And again, Justin Leonard being involved gave us a tremendous level
Push. Yeah, I could imagine.
of help. And then we relied a lot on digital. And until the changes with iOS, the Apple operating
Dude,
system,
that's like tanked it for everybody.
it's
Like I mean, I don't run ads like ever. Well, I do every once in a while, but like that's for small stuff. But like the brands I talk to, they're like, "Oh, it's completely changed the market space. Like, it's
completely.
almost impossible to like convert."
It is. So up until that, Facebook, funny enough, was a major driver of sales and user acquisition. But to your point, it was basically destroyed last year. So it couldn't be more timely with the physical product allowing us to branch out to other distribution channels.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's just crazy.
We almost
I
went out of
mean,
business. It was extremely difficult to deal with. I mean, it was like nobody knew it was. I mean, we kind of knew it was coming, but not to the effect that it ended up being. I mean, it was a complete shock, and I imagine there's tens or hundreds of thousands of people that, like me, were just scrambling, to
oh
survive.
yeah, for sure. I mean, I was trying to run ads on this product I made, and like my buddy set it up, who's like a perfect, he's really good at it, right? He does it for a big brand, and we set it all up, and like literally the cost to get one conversion, which they didn't even convert it, I did it, but like one conversion was more than what the product sold for, and
Oh,
I'm like seriously, like no thanks, turn it off. Like I would rather not do that. I mean,
it didn't used to be that way, but yes, that is the case now.
no, I mean I knew brands that blew up because of just Facebook ads, essentially.
Yeah,
I mean, I know there's probably ways of working around it, but um,
it's
so
okay.
then do you guys do like Google ads too? And I'm
Oh
assuming
yeah,
probably, yeah, you have to do all
we
those
do.
things.
Yeah, we do search, we do paid ads, we do.
It's super smart for you to go to Amazon route too, because like they dominate the ad market. Like if you look up a product, like if they saw on Amazon, Amazon's paying to run ads on you Google, so it's almost like you're double dipping. Um, that's what I've been told by brands, at least.
You're absolutely right. Couldn't have said it better myself. They are becoming kind of like the de facto search engine and market.
They really are. Like if you type in, I bet you $1 million if you type in GolfForever. I don't know if it's really true with yours, but let's say you did it. Like you're gonna see an ad from Amazon selling the GolfForever, which I can tell you right now, Jeremy didn't pay for that ad. Like Amazon's paying for that ad because they just want to get people onto Amazon to pay for it. So it's almost like people are so afraid to be on Amazon because it's like a big learning curve and it's a big pain in the ass and whatever. But like you kind of have to. I mean,
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's time.
Like that's what I think. And that's my opinion.
And we
And
were
I love
just,
Amazon. Don't get me wrong. Like
me too. You know, I
I'll buy
live
off it. I spend thousands of dollars a week probably on Amazon.
same here. I mean, I live in a place where we're very rural. We don't have that many stores, and so yeah, I use Amazon a lot. But you know, we didn't have an ability to be on there until we had a physical product. You can't
Exactly, right? Like what do you do when you have a digital product? Like
Yeah.
they're not gonna sell that on Amazon.
No.
It's
So,
smart.
yeah.
It's almost smart, right? Because now you have hard good that now you can sell on Amazon and like other places too. Now you can go retail, right? So you probably couldn't do that before either because
No.
it was intangible, right? So when did the hard good come out? You said this spring, right?
We debuted it at the PGA show in January.
So how was the reception on that?
It was amazing. I mean,
Was it?
it really did kick off what has been an extraordinary year. We had, I think we were told by multiple people, and I of course can't verify this, but we were told, and it seemed like we were the most exciting booth there. We had one of our one of the co-inventors of the device, Pete Holman, who's one of our instructors, and he's just this big animated guy. He was former U.S. Taekwondo champion, team captain, and he's invented a lot of fitness products, and he's now become really an expert in golf fitness as well. But he is just super animated, and he swings this thing like you can't imagine. I mean, he makes a spectacle of it. He looks like he's swinging a samurai sword. And we just had, like, 5 people deep circle around our booth pretty much the whole time. It was really exciting and just overwhelming. It was great.
Was it nice too? Was it nice because the PGA show wasn't crazy that like it wasn't as much attendance, so you probably got the more attention than you would have had the big boys been there. Now I've been told by a lot of brands that had been there, like that we got a lot more attention than we would have in the past, which is a phenomenal because it's like finally, right? Because essentially the big brands take up most of the airtime, let's call it, and then like. So I bet that was kind of cool too, because you have a new product, a new thing, you have a cool booth, it's active, it's lively, and Titleist is not down the road trying to sell putters or something like that. I can't believe you went to the PGA show. I was all ready to go to the PGA show, and then I canceled because like COVID was going crazy, and I was like, oh hell no, I'm not going to get COVID.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go.
I can tell you're going to be really successful if you're not. I mean, I know you are already, but you're going to.
I'm not that successful.
You're going to be even more successful because these are really insightful questions, and these are the same things that my team and I have talked about. Like that's another one you just touched on. We had that conversation after the show was over, and we agreed. The consensus was this was actually a good thing for us because
I've been told by numerous small to mid-sized brands this has been the best PGA show they've been to in 20 years. Like
it was excellent for us.
And well-established multi-million-dollar brands have told me the same thing too. They're just like, yeah, like we weren't even gonna go, like and then only half our team went because of whatever, and it was literally the best show we've ever had because like we were on TV, which we never get to be on, and but like you never. I mean, I don't know. I have my opinions on the PGA show, but
that was only the second.
I mean, I've had a great time. Here's my opinion. I think PGA is great. You know why I love PGA show? I've only gone one time. It was the best time I ever went. And the reason why I loved it so much is because I made so many friends in the industry. Like I was just excited to see people I knew. Like finally, like if I saw you, be like, "What's up?" and probably give you a hug and be like, "Oh, so cool to see you." Like we've talked a lot. Like you know what I'm saying? Like that's why it's fun for me. And the vast expansiveness of it. You're like, holy crap!
Such a spectacle.
Like it's like I got to my wife. I'm like, it's a square mile under glass. Like that's best I can describe it. Like of all golf stuff, and you don't even have time to see everything. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I was gonna go this year. I even booked my ticket, and then I canceled. I was like, well, COVID's blowing up, and everyone's getting sick. And I was like, well, no one gets stuck in Florida, which I don't really want to do. I'm gonna drive home to Phoenix from freaking Florida. Like, that's no thanks. I canceled it. So the first time you went though, did you have a booth or no?
No, the first time we went, we had just started, and it was basically just like a reconnaissance mission and trying to meet people. And it was, man, it was crazy. I guess it was 2019. I think it was 2019. Could have been 2020. It was before COVID, obviously, and it was just rowdy. I mean, it was just rowdy, and just parties every night you have to go to, and it was just, I was so exhausted by the time it was over. And this time was very, very different, but not necessarily bad. As I mentioned, it was still a lot of fun. Still, I probably met more people and had in-depth conversations with more people, whereas the first time there's so much going on. Everybody's just kind of like doesn't want to give too much attention to one person or one thing.
So I mean, it's kind of cool too, because I bet were you able to like walk around, talk to people, and check out other stuff, or were you in the booth the whole time?
No, we had a big team there. We had like, I think 7-8 people. So we took time off and checked everything out and got to walk around. It was great.
That's what I've been told too, like from friends who've had booths. Like, man, I wish I'd have a booth. Like, 'cause they're just stuck in the booth the whole time, and it's like I don't get to go mingle and stuff. But so it probably had great fanfare. So when you came out of the PGA show, I bet you were like you felt the sail behind you, right? The wind behind your back or whatever. Like, oh, this is gonna be a good year. Like, people are already starting to take notice.
It was, yeah. I mean, it was definitely, it was the first. It felt different, I guess I'll say that. It did feel different coming out of that, and we were so optimistic and hopeful, and that ended up panning out. And it was just, we with the startup, there's always challenges, but this year has been, it's really been our breakout.
Here's the best
year.
part. Let me tell you the best part. Okay,
Yeah.
It's August. Okay, you're like, what month? This is my opinion. Okay, I'm third party of FC. Is that like, okay, we have August, we have maybe like 1-2 more months of golf season, right? And then golf season starts going down. Then it's like, dude, your freaking product is like, yeah, you can use it while playing, but it's more of like, you can use it all season long. You can use it in the winter, you can use it in your basement, you can use it like the train, and like you're gonna blow up, dude. I'm telling you right now. Like, I've seen so many brands, like especially on Amazon. I know that all the swing trainers and all that stuff goes like super speed. Like, no pun intended, I guess. Like, it goes so fast because essentially it's like people are stuck at home and they need to train how to practice. So it's like, I think, watch, we'll talk again, like, and I'll be like, I tell you, and you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna go even more than it is now. That's what I think, because it's like people are gonna be stuck at home, and you literally have a cross product essentially, right? You have a training aid, right? Like, train your body. You have a fitness device, and you have an app. Like, that's kind of like, in my opinion, it's like a trifecta. And I mean, it's not like you're one trick pony and you're like, oh, I make a device, I make a product, here's how it works. Like, okay, cool. Oh, I made an app for it. No, it's completely flipped. It's like, I made an app for a fitness program, and then we came out with a product that goes part of it, make it even easier for you and more fun. And now I can actually open more doors because I'm in more places because I have a physical product. Yeah, dude, this is nothing. I'll tell you right now, this is, like, what you see now is nothing compared to what I think it's going to be like in 6 months.
I hope you're right. And, I don't want to lose sight of this. And this really is kind of why I do this. A big part of a big side effect from treating people with pain is that I got interested in fitness, and typically they were over 40. And it really is remarkable. It can't be overstated how much you can change your life with the right exercise program, with one that's focused on the right goals for your age and your place in life. I mean, where I live is a remarkable place, and I literally, this is no exaggeration, have 70-year-olds, people in their late 70s, that are as fit or more fit than most 30-year-olds I know. I'm talking about people that are hiking the mountain every day, that are doing dynamic, ballistic exercises with relatively high weight, and they're doing it safely without injury, and they act and importantly feel younger than they ever have. I mean, this is kind of like the magic ingredient in life. And I look at golf. Yes, I'm passionate about golf, and I love the game, and I love golfers, but this is a way to get a segment of people, golfers, to experience that and to really change how they feel and to give them much better lives, particularly in their 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond, than they would have had otherwise. So I see this as kind of like partially a Trojan horse of getting golfers into this lifestyle of fitness and health and taking care of your body and being proactive so that they feel better and they can do, yes, golf much better. But
See, I
everything
think
else,
this is the hardest thing too, because there's so many like digital products for golf training. I mean, like training, like physical training or whatever, instructional training. There's like, it's like there's so many of it, but like nobody has a physical product that goes with it. Like nobody. They all have like, you'll have the flip reverse, right, of physical
right?
product with like maybe an app or at least a website to figure out how to use it. But like nobody has it the other way around. And I think that's what differentiates you right out of the gate, because it's a digital platform to show people like how to get better and how to get healthy. But like the physical product is what's really going to like push it over the edge, in my opinion, because
That's
like
what I'm
there's a
saying.
lot of digital products out there. There's tons and tons and tons of them, and they spend a lot of money on ads. I can tell you that. And we all know they all are.
That's true.
I mean, open up YouTube, you'll see them. And I think it's kind of cool that like you're doing it differently and you're already seeing it and you have PGA player support, which is like unheard of, because most of this shit is like, yeah, I have PGA player support, but it's like guys that played a million years ago. And okay, cool. I don't know. I think and plus with the new generation of players like that care about fitness and health and stuff like that, I think it kind of, I don't know. I think you have a lot going. It's cool, man. I honestly do. I
Thank
was
you.
excited to have you on the show because I was like, this is cool. And I don't really say that often because I do a lot of stuff. So,
I
I
appreciate
mean,
that very much.
I'm excited because I want to get one and I want to
I'm gonna
use it
get you
on my
set up.
back. And
Well,
this is not a pitch. I'm just saying like,
I
I
don't
want to
know.
use it because I think
I
this is going to be
absolutely
great.
we'll hang out and talk after, and I'll get you set up for sure. Because I want to hear back from you what it does to that symptom pattern you were describing. Because I'd be willing to make a wager that it will help it, and probably significantly.
But my back's always tight. Like I was in the simulator for 3 hours yesterday, right? Because I'm really on my road to scratch. Like I'm like training and practicing and like trying to get good. I got new clubs, like the whole 9 yards. I mean, I got refitted, everything. And it's like, okay, but my back still feels like shit at the end of the day. Like my back is tight, my butt's tight. I'll roll it out on a foam roller, but that barely alleviates it. So it's not, I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be, don't get me wrong, but it's not like I don't have the rotation. I can feel it. Like, and so what happens is I'm gonna tell you golfers out there is if you lose the rotation, then you start like lifting your arm up and trying to like offset whatever you can do to like finish the swing. And I can see it on my videos. I film my what I'm doing at the course, right? Essentially, and I can see it. I can like literally see where my body stops and then the arm comes out because I can't go back any further. So, um, yeah, that's my ailment. It's like a 90-year-old man.
Well, look, this is really important. I can't overstress it. Like you're dealing with an imbalance, and that's what causes the tightness. And stretching is kind of like a very short-term approach. Makes you feel better for minutes, hours, or maybe days. But unless you retone, rebalance, and retrain those movement patterns, you can't stretch your way out of that. So I'm
Really? So you can never, so you can like, that's very interesting to hear that. So like essentially like for people out there, including myself, like even if I was out there stretching at the end of the day and like doing all this stuff, like, yeah, you're stretching out the muscle, right? And the ligaments or whatever, but it's not like going to fix the problem. I mean, it will fix it a little bit, but it's not like you're going to have the same problem the next time you go do it again,
That's
essentially.
right. It's like taking an aspirin. I mean, there's a place for stretching, but for the types of issues we're talking about right now, where whether it's been a traumatic injury or it's postural problems because you've been sitting slumped over for 20 years, if you don't address those muscle groups and the way that they function around the joint and the way that they perform, you can't stretch your way out of that. You can, I mean, I can't tell you hundreds of people I had come in my clinic and say, Doc, I stretch every day, I stretch for an hour, and I feel like every day I'm starting back at square one. I'm not improving over time. And that's because you're not addressing the reason that those muscles are tight to begin with. Doing that, addressing that reason is the key to long term real improvement. And that's what this program does.
No, I think it's cool. I mean, so what is like what's for the next 6 months, right? To the end of the year, like what is Golf Forever's plan? Like you have new product coming out? Are you doing something special for the rest of the year? Like what's happening between now and Christmas, let's call it.
Thank you. So we have a lot going on. We have a major set of improvements to the application, some of which will be out by Christmas. But I mean, I'm so excited about this, and I don't want to say too much about it, but it's going to make it really fun and competitive with friends. So we have that. We're working on that. Part of it by Christmas, probably the rest will roll out in Q1. We're also in development of our second physical product, which very likely will be out for Christmas. And that's going to also integrate into the application. And then finally, for next year, we're developing what's going to make this really a seamless kind of plug and play, all in one kind of home training system, similar to like some other things you can imagine that are in that category or that space. So we're working on a lot of stuff. This is just the beginning of this kind of concept of GolfForever with the physical product. We have more products, and we're also bringing on a lot of new instructors, content providers. We recently signed a couple more of the Golf Digest Top 50. And I think we'll probably bring on 10, 15 more over the next year of the top tier instructors who always bring a different and new perspective that makes it a better product.
That's so cool. I'm excited for you, to be honest, because I think I didn't know much about you, obviously. I didn't do my research or anything like that, but I knew what GolfForever was, but not really. And then I kind of seen what's been going on with you guys, at least since the beginning of the year, because we know a lot of the same people. And I don't know, I'm excited to see what you're doing with your product, but also the direction this is going, because I have not seen this before, right? I've seen a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I think you have some cool here. This is gonna be more. I can almost see this GolfForever almost becoming a lot of physical products, right? Different, seriously, with the application side of it, so people can just go learn how to use it at home and not have to get a trainer or whatever it might be.
That's right.
So I don't know. That's really cool. You guys have to check out GolfForever. Like I said, where can people find GolfForever?
So you can go to our website, which is golfforever.com, or go to the App Store and search for GolfForever. That will lead you to be able to just download the app and get started immediately. If you want to buy the physical product, the swing trainer, and then download the app, you can go to our website, golfforever.com, and purchase it there.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you being on my show today. Dr. Jerry James.
You were
one of the
most insightful interviewers I've had. Well done. This
really?
podcast is going to be
high five for me. I don't know. I like talking business with brands. It's my favorite thing to do. It just is. It's funny because we all have the same thread. I feel like we're all the little guy, right? Essentially. And so it's we all have the same problems. They're all just different facts. So it's almost I don't know. It's just, I started this podcast, to be honest. I was at the PGA show, the only one I ever went to, and it was 2:00 in the morning. And I just got back from my room, and another guy who was on my team, we were sharing a room together. And I was like, what I should do? I should do a podcast. I have so many good conversations with people. I'm like, people should hear this. It'd be really cool. And that's literally how it started. And then the next day I went to the PGA show, and I'm friends with the guys at Seymour Putters. And I was talking to them. We're hanging out. And I was like, oh, I had this idea for a podcast. And they said, oh, we have a podcast. And I was like, really? They're like, oh, yeah, we can help you. And they're the ones that helped me figure out what to buy, how to set it up. It was so I don't know. That's just that's the other thing I'm going to tell you too. I've learned is the golf world is super teeny small. It's so small. And so that's why I think I don't know. I've always enjoyed it because I like working with good people. So you guys have to check out GolfForever. Seriously, this is not a pitch. This is cool. And I know I'll be getting one, hopefully, and we'll be reviewing it. And this is legit, you guys. So check it out. What else? And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to Dr. Jerry James on the site, and he will potentially respond back to you. Or somebody on his team will.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding around. But yeah, thanks for being on the show, and I will see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you, Paul.